Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at BellisioFoods.com/careers.
Good morning, everyone. This is a very, very busy day here at Main Street TV, but a very, very exciting day because we have a lot of special guests here in the studio to talk about a lot of things. Well, seasonal. 'Tis the season, a lot of subjects.
That's right.
That's right. And we have our good friend Kathy who is here. And you want to tell everybody I think you work at the Adina Mansion. Is that correct?
Yes, I am the executive director at Adina Mansion and Gardens.
What a cool job
It
you
is.
must
It is the
have.
best.
Yeah. So for all of you that didn't get to go in the third grade to the Adina Mansion,
Yeah.
or have been living under a rock and don't know that Chillicothe was Ohio's first capital.
And third.
And third.
Yes.
I didn't know that
Yes.
part. I probably did in the 8th grade or something.
You
but-
probably did.
Yeah, I probably just.
Yeah.
But so tell us what the Adina Mansion is and what all you get to do there.
Well, the Adina Mansion is the home of Thomas Worthington, which is Ohio's 6th governor.
Mm-hmm.
He's also known as the father of Ohio statehood. He was one of Ohio's first 2 senators. And that's where Ohio began. That's where Ohio history began. So we're real excited. We are having our Holidays at Adina, which is an annual event that we do every year. The mansion, tenant house, and visitor center, which is where our museum is, is decorated for the holidays. It's a very different feeling, though, because back in 1807 or to 1820, they didn't really celebrate Christmas.
Really?
No,
Okay.
no. They celebrated the New Year. So Christmas Day, they actually worked. They banked. The banks weren't closed. It was a whole different feeling. The Christmas tree did not come to the U.S. until later in the 1800s. So that's where we bring that feeling into it was actually brought over from Germany. We bring that feeling into our tenant house. So the mansion is decorated in early 1800s style, which would be, I'm sure everybody's heard of the Hanging of the Greens, It
sounds very like your pinky should be out.
They would bring greenery in to liven up the place because it was so dreary and dark in the wintertime. So they would bring the greenery in to make it more lively.
Okay.
Then, so we do decorate, but it's more of a Williamsburg style, the way Williamsburg would do it, or Monticello, along that same line. So we decorate that way in the mansion.
Okay.
Then you go to the tenant house. You can get a cup of cider, some cookies. It is decorated more of the German, because he did have German indentured servants. That is who designed his gardens and worked in his gardens. So we honor them by decorating our tenant home in that fashion.
Okay.
So there is a Christmas tree there, but it would have been very simple, more of homemade ornaments or things of that nature. So we have that. And then you come to the visitor center, and it is modern. We have a Christmas tree with lights and ornaments. And on the second weekend, this weekend, it's 10 to 4, both Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
Then next weekend, we do it 10 to 4, Saturday and Sunday. But on Saturday, St. Nicholas is coming. So St. Nicholas will be there. Every child that comes through the door, 12 and under, will receive a book. And the name
cool.
of the book, the first 50 they'll all get a book, but the first 50 have the opportunity to get the book that is the story about the little owl that traveled in the tree that was put up at the Rockefeller Center.
That was like the saddest, sweetest story ever.
But the lady the neatest thing is, this book is written by the woman who rehabilitated the little owl.
Love that.
So,
And the owl's okay.
The
Like,
owl's okay. He was
happy
released
ending.
back into the wild, and it
Just a little lost.
yeah, he was just in the tree.
Poor guy.
So, it tells that story. And then the other book after those are gone is 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, and
Perfect.
children would get one or the other. St. Nicholas will have story time, and on Saturday, you'll have to go on our website to get those times, which is adinamansion.com.
Easy to remember.
Yes. Go on our website. If you cannot locate it, you can call us at 740-772-1500, and we'd be happy to give you those times. And for every child that whole weekend that comes in, not only do they get a book, for every paying adult, a child gets in free.
Wow.
So if you have a family
Okay.
of 4, both children would be at no
Sure.
cost.
Awesome.
And it is, again, it's 12 and under, and then the adult would just have to pay. So that's the reason we give the book, which I think is a really neat reason. Thomas Worthington was very supportive of literacy. All of his children were able to read and write. He wanted, even his girls, he had 10 children, 5 boys and 5 girls. All of them were educated.
Was that not
That was not
normal?
normal. No.
Okay.
And a lot of the children, all of his children lived to adulthood. Some of them passed as young adults in their early 30s, but they all lived to adulthood, which was very unusual at that
Really?
time. Yes. Yes, so I'm
It
very...
was that fancy house they lived in, maybe.
Yeah, probably. But it's just an amazing place to be. When you come up the hill and you reach the crest of the hill, you'll see the mansion, drive around to the parking. It's just a magical place to be at Christmas time. Even if it
Seems
is a
like
little
it.
cold and you have to walk around.
That just puts you in the mood.
You can just go to the tented house and get you some cider.
There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And as I said, what a fun job you have to share the mansion with the world. And we were talking about, I said, I can remember going in, like grade school to the Adina Mansion in Mound City and whatever. And I still remember it. Is there somewhere on the property where they like smoked meats or cured meats or something?
There is.
So I'm not crazy.
No.
I don't know. I just remember that.
Besides the mansion, the smokehouse
Yeah.
is the only other original building to the
Okay.
property. So you are right.
Wow.
And that will be open. It's close to the mansion. So the places that will be open during holidays at Adina, of course, the mansion. We will have the gardens open, but you have to keep in mind the gardens have been put to bed. So when we
Sure.
say that, we've prepared them for winter so that our bulbs, our roses,
We've
everything's
winterized them.
Yeah,
Yes.
everything's protected.
Yes. It has
But
to
you
be.
can certainly walk through the gardens if you would like. There is the servants' quarter, the wash house, and the smokehouse will all be open for viewing. And then of course, the tenant house, as I mentioned, and then the visitor center with the museum area. And if you go to the visitor center, you need to go in and see the tomahawk that Tecumseh gifted to Governor Worthington. It is amazing not only to see, but the story behind it. It wasn't a weapon given. It's a tomahawk peace pipe that was given to him in a time of peace, saying that he would not raise his tomahawk to him in battle, because it was right before the War of 1812. So that was something that was on the horizon when that was given to him. And actually, it was given to him during a walk when Tecumseh had visited Adena.
That's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
Back when that stuff didn't happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Wow. How cool. So how long, just in general, how long did someone live in Adena, and how long has it been kind of a visitor's place?
Okay. So it was built in 1807, finished in 1807. They moved into it in the fall of 1807. The last Worthington, which would have been James's wife, because once Thomas and Eleanor passed away, the oldest child would
Get
receive
the house.
it. Yes.
Okay.
So James was the oldest son, and he and his first wife, Julia, lived in it for 8 years, and then Julia passed away, and then he remarried pretty much immediately, because back then that's what they did.
Yeah.
And him and his second wife, Martha, lived in it until their deaths. So James passed first, and then Martha lived in it till she passed, and I believe that was 1896, I want to say. And then it laid vacant for quite a while.
That's sad.
Until the Smith family, who was a predominant business family in Chillicothe, bought it as their summer home. So they would have a place to take their people to entertain and everything.
Show off a little.
You can tell the difference if you see pictures of the gardens, how their taste was so, because Governor Worthington's was so simple. He brought that gentleman's flair from Virginia with him when he came here. The Smiths were a little more flamboyant. It was just a different time, because they bought it in 1901, renovated it, put bay windows in. There was a porch on the back. It was just so different.
You have to think about how in 1901 they were making things modern.
Right.
You know,
well,
like,
that was
I'm sure there was no plumbing and all that stuff, right?
Well, they brought plumbing in when the Smiths did.
Okay.
So they had bathrooms brought in, or that they put in. It was just a lot different. Then when they passed away, it was actually in their will that their daughter, they had one daughter that she had 1 year to close the estate and turn the home over to the state of Ohio.
Oh, so
in
she
honor of the Worthingtons.
That is so cool.
So that happened in 1946.
Okay.
So from 1946 to 1953, they did the first restoration.
Okay.
Then that restoration was completed in 53, and the home opened up in April, I believe, of 53 for the public to enjoy.
So cool.
And then they did this.
That's about when I was in grade school, by the way.
Yeah. That's
Feels like it anyway.
I think I'm a little older than you, and I wasn't in grade school then. But then the second restoration took place at the bicentennial of the state of Ohio, which was in 2003. And then that's when the visitor center and different things were done for the site. So,
and is the Adena Mansion open year round?
It is not open year round. Unfortunately, we do close the end of October for the season. So we're open the first Saturday of April through the last Saturday of October.
So the warmer times.
Yes. And then but we still have events. So like in November, we do scrapbooking. Let me tell you, that is the thing. Paper crafting,
I didn't know people still did
scrapbooking.
that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, it's in a way, because I wanted to tie it into history, but that's creating your own history.
Sure.
So why not do it?
Love that.
So we do that, and it ended up being one of our largest fundraisers. We do it twice a year. We have to do it when we're closed because these ladies like to scrap. And it's all day long. It's from 12 to 12, and they enjoy it. It's a fun event. And we do that in November and in March.
Okay.
And then we have holidays at Adina right after that. And then January, we don't do really anything because if it snows, we kind of have a problem getting up the hill.
Makes sense.
It's a little hard.
Yeah.
And then in February, we start getting ready to open up because March 1st of 2025 will be Statehood Day. And that is the actual day that Ohio became a state, was March 1st, 1803.
And I probably knew that in the 8th grade as well, but I don't know that today.
Well,
so thank you.
Yes, come out.
How cool.
March 1st, it is a free to the public because we collaborate with 5 other organizations in Chillicothe, and we all are open from 10 to 4 for a free event. I mean, you can visit all of those places at no cost.
So if you said Worthington was the 6th governor,
Yes.
so who? You don't have to name them all, but they didn't live obviously in that mansion. They lived other places.
No, when he became governor, he did live in the mansion. So the first governor actually was his brother-in-law, Edward Tiffin.
Okay.
But before they lived in the mansion, when they first came to Chillicothe, they lived down on 2nd Street on the corner of Paint and 2nd.
Yeah.
And their lot went clear over to Walnut Street.
Oh.
So it was a rather large lot. They had gardens there.
Okay. Not quite the same as it is today.
No, it was actually, he had the first glass windows in Chillicothe in that little cabin that he had down on 2nd and...
Glass windows.
Yeah.
What were windows before? Nothing?
I don't know. I think they just put whatever they had over it. I don't know. But he had the first glass windows.
That is awesome. Love that. How fun.
Yeah. I don't have to worry about because I know he had glass.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all
Yeah.
good. So tell us again about your event this weekend and next weekend. And that way we can...
Yeah. Well, come out and see us.
And how do you get to Adina?
Well, if you're coming from
situation.
the south, you're going to just come up 35 and you'll watch for the Chillicothe signs and get off at Chillicothe. And the wonderful thing is that they did do a wayfinding in the downtown area, so it will direct you. Watch the signs and it will direct you to Adina Mansion. We are off of Adina Road. If you want to put it in your GPS, put in 847 Adina Road.
Okay.
And that will get you right to our gate.
And you can find it all online too.
Yeah, just follow it up the hill. You can go to our website. There's a map there.
Awesome.
So, yes. And then 10 to 4 this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. 10 to 4 next weekend. Next weekend's Children's Weekend. And
bring the family.
Yeah.
How fun.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thank you for sharing some history with us this morning.
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime I get to talk about it makes me happy.
Yeah, and I would love for you to come back when it gets to, when you get to ready to open for the summer. Yeah. And then we can just talk about some of the activities and things that people can do on the daily there, because it's one of those things that everyone should see at least once.
Yes. And a lot of people, especially local or even Southern Ohio, they aren't even aware of it. They're not aware what it is or where it's at. And let me tell you, Thomas Worthington is the reason Ohio became a state in 1803. And just appreciating that and appreciating all of his contribution to Ohio and to the United States, because that's
Sure.
how we all became what we are today.
Yeah, absolutely. So there you go.
Yeah.
A fun-filled weekend. And Kathy, will you be there to
I
greet
will.
people?
I will.
So who doesn't want to see Kathy? You can see her in person. Tell her
Yeah.
you saw her here.
Yeah.
Well, very good. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us this morning. We do have some other guests waiting in the wings, and I think we have a message, and then we'll be back with them.
At Vinton County National Bank, we believe in supporting the areas where we live and work. Now, we'd like to honor those who also serve our communities. Our new Community Champions account is especially for first responders, veterans, active military, and anyone employed in the fields of healthcare or education. This account offers rewards, discounts, and other benefits to those who give so much to others. Vinton County National Bank, rewarding those who serve.
All right. Well, we're still switching. They're here. It's fine. And okay, so we have another set of guests here. And, you know, it was interesting because Kathy was talking about the Adena Mansion and how things got a little bit depressing way back in the 1800s. And, you know, they didn't have all the lights and the whatever. And I was thinking about the fact at Christmas time and the first of the year. And I was thinking, yeah. So, I mean, we have lights and we have all of this stuff and people still get down in the dumps and all of that, or stressed out at Christmas time. So these girls are here to help a little bit with that. So could you introduce yourselves, please?
Sure. I'm Erica Kegley. And I'm Laura Hill, and we're with Glenwood Behavioral Health Hospital.
That's right. And these girls drove all the way from the Cincinnati area today to be with us, and that is awesome.
Well, I'm
So
from
thank you.
Portsmouth.
Well, close enough. She picked you up on the way through, or what?
Yeah.
No, this is amazing. And can you tell us a little bit about your hospital, what you all do?
So we take ages 13 and
Pull that up a little
older.
bit.
Sure. So we have 80 beds. It's inpatient. So we have 40 adolescent beds and 40 adults. So any acute psychiatric issue, we're here to help.
And I think, number one, I assume that this time of the year is rough on some people. But if there's anything that came out of this COVID thing, it's people talking about how they feel. And that's good.
That I've always said that the whole COVID thing that had to happen, like you always hear the negatives, but I feel like since COVID and since the pandemic that
Agreed.
we're talking more
Yeah.
about mental health, because I think if you've never had any type of anxiety or depression, you probably did during the pandemic time. I'm sure that
Correct.
did touch your life in some way. So I feel like the pandemic has made us all more aware, definitely.
Yeah, and I think that it somehow, and I don't know how, but it made it okay to talk
Yes.
about things that was a stigma before.
Definitely.
So thank God for that.
Yes.
We'll give COVID that.
Yes,
We'll give it
yes.
one.
Yeah, it made it less taboo, and I always
Yes.
say, regardless pre-pandemic, post, mental health, anxiety, substance abuse issues, it doesn't discriminate.
No.
Everyone knows someone, whether that's yourself or a loved one, a family member, friend, that has struggled with it. So I think the more people are open about it and willing to get help and willing to share, can only, do us
Do us good. Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely. So let's talk about, some of the things that stress people out this time of the year. What can they do about it?
Sure. Well, first, if I can just talk about some of the statistics.
Yeah,
And
for
a lot
sure.
of this is coming from NAMI, which is a great resource. It stands for National Alliance on Mental Illness. So according to NAMI, 64% of us, we are going to experience some sort of like holiday blues, holiday stressors, things like that. So So, and then we'll kind of like break those down a little bit. Coming in at 13% is money, financial issues. That's this time of year we're buying gifts and buying things that normally we're not. So that's 13%. Coming in secondly is self-stress, those expectations that we put on ourselves.
We don't do that, do we?
Sometimes we're our own worst enemy, for
most
sure.
of the time, I feel like, yes.
And then this is shocking to me, but number one is family. I kind of thought like financial would be the number one stress, money issues, things like that. But our lovely families tend to cause us some stress, definitely.
I could
coming
see
in
that.
at 65%.
And I'd love to know, with it being an election year, if that percentage goes up.
Listen, the election should just have a whole statistic of its own.
For sure.
I'm like, I've never seen so many people. One of my friends posted on Facebook this morning. She's like, I'm over football and the elections and whatever. I'm on to wine and Hallmark movies and my dogs. And I was like, yes,
Definitely.
Maybe not wine, what you guys are talking about, but I know exactly what she's saying.
Yeah, we have to watch our alcohol
Yes,
intake too.
Yeah, that's definitely not what we want to push you toward, but I understand what she's saying. And no, the elections, I think, also are another trigger that drive people absolutely crazy. So now we're going from elections straight into holidays, and it can be, it's
A
just
lot.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just more of the same. So
Definitely.
yeah, I can't, but no, the family thing, I can see where people want to like love their families and get along and whatever, but there's always like something.
Yeah, always.
Yeah,
My family knows I don't want to discuss politics. Like, don't even bring it up.
Yeah, just
I just want to avoid the argument before it happens because my family's pretty well split. So many different opinions. So it's like, there's going to be an argument if we go there. So let's not even go there.
I mean, let's talk about religion instead. That'll be easy.
And that's the other thing. It's, my
Just
family's
kidding.
kind of like that with religion too. And I'm like, okay, let's just avoid these two topics.
No, we have guests come on the show sometimes and they're like, what are we talking about? I'm like, oh, we're going to talk about religion and politics today. And they're like, I'm so kidding. Like, no, never here is that going to happen. Yeah. Like if you want to stay safe, you avoid those subjects. So that is our first tip of the day.
You're right.
I think one thing that kind of comes to mind during the holidays is the alone factor, the loneliness.
Sure.
We see that a lot with the senior adult population.
Yes.
But one population to keep in mind is our youth. Particularly, the adolescents and kiddos, but, they're not in school.
Yep.
They're not having extracurriculars. They're not participating in sports.
Yes.
A lot of times family, guardians, they're working, different shifts to be able to provide for a holiday meal.
It's a catch-22.
And so, making sure that you're trying to keep that in mind to be able to focus on any sort of warning signs, any self-isolation, any withdrawal, because, loneliness, grief, loss of a loved one, that comes up a lot during the holidays, and it can, exacerbate the symptoms of anxiety and depression.
Sure.
Definitely.
I could see that. And, and I think that's something that happened during the pandemic is with the kids not being in school. A, they weren't being checked on all the time by teachers and administrators and all of that stuff. But B, they were just alone and lonely.
Right.
And then do you find stressors too with kids? And I wonder about this. Is it a competition? Like I got this toy and do you find that that's problematic
We were just
too?
talking about that, even with adults as well. We were just talking about on the radio
Okay,
show.
is that a thing?
Comparison is just such a thief of our joy because we
Yeah,
kinda
it's
do
called
that.
Facebook.
Right,
Like,
stay off
get
social
off of
media.
it.
Stay off social
This
media.
is my family. Oh, well, they have 25 people at their place, and I only have 20.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
no one
And I'm
loves
sure the
me.
kids like comparing the gifts and all that, and it's like there's always going to be someone that has it better than you. So the comparison thing, we need to just if we have to stay off social media, we need to stay off social media.
And I think that's just really good advice. Especially this time of the year, because I could see where, even adults, like, Oh, my neighbor got a new car for Christmas? Really?
Why didn't I get a new
Why am I
car?
getting a divorce now because she got a new car and I didn't? Like, no,
Right.
I'm joking about that.
Well, and keeping in mind, things aren't always as they seem. So
Correct.
a lot of people post, and if it brings them joy, great. But if it's bringing you anxiety from their joy, then, I mean, technology now, you can set a timer where you can only access social media during a certain amount of times. Maybe, if you don't have that self-control, set that in place so it's cutting you off whether you want it or not.
Yeah, setting
think that's
boundaries is
fantastic.
important.
Boundaries are
Boundaries.
important.
Yeah, be your own advocate there.
Yes, definitely. And I think too, just like looking at some of the ways that we can cope is, like we said, setting realistic expectations.
Please tell us how we can cope.
Whatever it is for you, if it's financial, looking at a budget and sticking to your budget, not trying to keep up with the neighbors and all that, because that's just going to cause more stress, and then you're going to be in debt after Christmas. And then also too is learning to say no. I feel like especially around the holidays,
Yep.
I know for me, I feel like I have to do it all, be it all, and it's like, nope. I can say no to some things. People will be fine and move on.
It's okay to say, I'm going to sit at home and watch National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation 14 times in a row. And I'm not going to answer my phone if you want to.
Exactly,
Like,
yes.
it's fine.
Right, exactly. And then also learning, when to end certain conversations, especially we talked about with family and if, politics or whatever it is, maybe it's, someone in the family, some kind of drama that's happened or whatever, just learning to end conversations.
That never happens.
Right. I mean, changing the subject, getting up and walking away, just kind of ending that before it gets out of hand and gets, too heated is important. And then I know Laura mentioned too, like, grief that comes up, around
Big
this time of year. So to cope with that, honor the person that's passed away, and that can be different for every person.
Maybe celebrate their life.
Yeah, celebrate their
Instead
life.
of being sad about their death.
Exactly. And, if you have kids and, maybe it's have them be involved and, picking their favorite dish and make sure that you make their favorite dish, setting a place for them at the table. At the dinner table.
That's sweet. I know when my great uncle Lewis passed away, he always, his contribution to Christmas was these scalloped oysters. And I'm like, as a kid, you're like, that is so gross. But then, like, when he passed, I made the scalloped oysters because I'm like, I just want to keep that going.
Yes,
I copied you because over Thanksgiving I made a oyster casserole
See?
in honor of my uncle that passed.
See?
awesome.
So,
Yeah.
And I think that those are things that help you, like, remember good stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Now it was overcooked.
Oh, yeah, I screwed it up. It was horrible.
But it's the memory that
It's the thought that counts.
And you'll get
Yes.
better each year, Laura.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And nobody wants to eat it, but it was there.
I think another thing is control the controllables. Alcohol
Love that.
intake is very heavy during the holidays. Our diet is affected. We're eating richer foods. We're eating dessert,
Carbs,
sugary
all
carbs.
the carbs.
So try and get some sleep. Try and, even if it's a 15-minute, 20-minute walk,
Yes.
get some
Some me
exercise. Yeah. Because we know we're gonna have a lot of family in town. Our diet may be different. Our routines may be different. So just try to implement some of your healthy coping mechanisms, and know that you're gonna get back to it if things are a little off during the holidays.
Sure.
Give
that
yourself
makes
some
total sense.
grace.
Yeah.
Give
Yeah.
yourself some
Yeah,
grace.
don't beat yourself up.
Right.
I had 2 pieces of pie. It's okay. Like, just don't do it every day.
Right.
If I had 2 pieces of pie, I would die. But anyway, but no. I mean, just, give yourself a little grace. I like that.
Definitely, yeah.
For
and
sure.
and if you think, like we talked about loneliness too, if you, have a plan, you're kind of planning ahead, if you're going to be alone for the holidays, plan around that. So, by doing something kind for someone else, it makes us automatically feel better about ourselves.
Sure.
So whether it's volunteering at a soup kitchen, going to see some of the elderly at nursing homes that don't have family, just kind of looking at yourself, what stresses you out, and then making a plan around that.
And there's always somewhere to go. I think at Christmas time there are probably, church services, even if you don't go the rest of the year. There are number of things that you could do that you would definitely not be alone.
Definitely.
And then some of us are just happy to be alone. But no, I understand that. Please, I just want to stare at the wall for a minute. And do that too if you want to. And that was kind of a selfish thing that I know my husband and I did one Christmas is we just were like, no offense, love you all, but we're going to sit at home and we're going to do nothing on Christmas. Okay?
Good for you.
And we did it. And everyone was like, and I'm like, I'm tired and I'm grumpy and I'm going to stay at home. Yeah. So
you have to balance
you do
things out.
you, man.
Yeah.
Like whatever it is,
Good
it's
for
fine.
You all. Good for you all.
Yeah.
So.
And don't let people make you feel bad about it.
Exactly.
And don't get FOMO.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Very true. Very true.
So, okay. So what if you just can't shake it and you say, I need help?
Well, you need to ask for help, and whether that's a professional, places like Glenwood, we're here to help as well. We kind of talked about earlier, some of these anxiety and depression symptoms are normal for most of us, but if they're kind of lingering on past the holidays,
You can't shake it. I don't know. That's the way.
And people may ask, like, how do you know when it's time to reach out for professional help? Is it affecting your daily life? Is it affecting you, the ability to get up out of bed and go to work and take care of your kids? Those kind of things. Is it affecting you daily, and is it lingering on?
And is
Maybe
it your first thing you think about, or if it's on your thought all the time?
Exactly. So maybe it's time to reach out to your physician. Sometimes medications are okay to kind of help us get out of that funk for a while. So just knowing when to ask for help. And
There's also the non-emergent 988 line.
I'm glad you mentioned that. That's a great thing. Can you just talk about that for a second?
Yeah, so, historically, everyone calls 911 for any sort of emergency. So 988 was created, and it's more of a emergency line, but it's non-emergent. So they have folks 24/7, 365 days a year, and you can kind of call and kind of go through what's going on, and they can kind of talk you through services.
They can be your concierge,
available.
your mental concierge, if you will. Help you with.
And you can also
what
text
direction
the
to go.
line as well. You
Yeah.
don't have
can.
to call. I know kids these days hate to call people, so you can text as well.
Yes, yeah, you can text as well. So
That's awesome.
yeah, but I mean, there's lots of services out there. The first step is just asking for help, whether that's a loved one or a trusted adult, or the 988. Again, Glenwood is here for any sort of psychiatric emergencies.
Could someone just call your hospital and say, I need help?
Yeah, definitely.
They don't have to be referred by their doctor or anything like that.
No,
Okay.
and we kind of operate like a 24/7 psych ER. So
Okay.
I know with stigma, a lot of our patients come in from a local emergency room, but because of stigma, folks don't want to go to the local emergency room and they want to drive to Cincinnati and do a walk-in. They certainly can do that.
Okay.
They can call us first to say, hey, here's what's going on. See if they'll meet criteria, and they can do a walk-in and be assessed there at our hospital.
Love that. I mean, I think that it's just nice for people to know that there's somewhere to turn.
Exactly.
Because I think sometimes you don't know where to even begin.
Exactly. And I always say, like, what do you do if you break your arm, or what do you do if you get sick? Well, you're not going to not tell anyone and keep it all to yourself. You're probably going to tell your spouse or your friend, or if you're a child, your mother or your father, and say, hey, here's the symptoms. I'm feeling these symptoms. This is what's going on. And from there, you kind of get help. It's the same thing with mental health. Like, if we have thoughts that are not so pleasant, we should go talk to someone just like we would if we had the flu or something else happen to us.
Absolutely. I mean, if your liver isn't working or your kidneys aren't working or whatever, you seek a doctor's help
you're not
to
going to
fix
just
them.
hide and keep all that to yourself and just hope that it gets better on your own, because it's not.
No, absolutely. And especially this time of the year, if you're having any thoughts, or you're scared, or you're sad, or whatever, you can always call your family physician, but call these girls as well. How would they get a hold of the hospital there?
I think Adrienne was going to post our
Oh, there it
number
is.
up there.
Except for my face is in the way.
So just
There we go.
513-866-2220. And again, we're 24/7. We're a hospital. We're never closed. We're always here. So if you would need us for anything, just let us know.
Well, we can't thank you enough for being here today and being here for folks that need it, because it's a lot.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
having us
Thanks.
and
Yeah.
shedding
Appreciate
light to an important topic. So we appreciate you spending time.
It's our pleasure.
talking about it.
Come back
you.
anytime.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like to preach the mental health thing, because it's, we've all been there.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be alone with it.
Right.
Yeah.
So reach out.
All right. Well, girls, we'll let you get back to West. I was in Cincinnati over the weekend, and people were like, Jackson, where's that? I'm like, do you know where 32 is? Yeah. Get on 32 and drive for 2 hours.
You'll
They're
end
like,
up in Jackson.
what? I'm like, yeah, it goes that far. I promise you. So anyway, all right. Well, we're gonna switch guests out once again. Thank you. Be safe on your travels back.
Thank you.
And we will be back. We're gonna do some weather, and then be back with a couple of other guests here who are gonna tell you about something good that they're into. So thank you, girls.
Thank you.
All right, and this weather forecast is a bit on the icky side. Very, very cold the next couple of days. Today, a little bit of chance of some rain in the forecast. Come on over, have a seat. And then tomorrow on Thursday, even colder. And you know what, though? It puts you in the mind of Christmas for our downtown sidewalk market. Christmas cheer from yesteryear, the cookie walk, all the things going on. So that will be tomorrow. High tomorrow of only 28, lows of 18. Thank you, girls. And then Friday, Saturday, a little bit warmer. And then look, Monday, we're back in the 50s, so we'll take that. Yes, that's very good. All right, well, we have 2 more special guests here in the studio today. How are you all?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. And tell everybody who you are, please.
I'm Tucker Williams.
I'm Taylor Williams.
Are you related?
Yes.
If you couldn't tell yet.
I can tell. I already knew the answer, and I can tell. So tell us what you two are up to.
Yes.
Other than, coming here wanting to get out of school.
That was a big part of it, yeah.
I mean, everyone wants to talk to Jen when they get out of school.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yes. So 2 years ago, I was a sophomore, and things were rough from COVID, and people were feeling that, and I know everyone was feeling that. Institutions were feeling it as well. So they were, financially, people were struggling, and we were looking for a way to kind of, just give back, because we know people in the community want to help, right?
Especially in a small community like ours, that's a great thing, because if anything comes good from being in a small town, it's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of our family friends, she told us that one of the nursing homes was one of these institutions that was kind of was struggling financially. So we decided.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we decided that was a way that we could give back through the community and give back to the community. And so we set up a donation drive called Spreading Joy to the Elderly. So we just received donations, monetary donations, and any items that a nursing home would need or would want. So and we took all of those items to the nursing home, and that was kind of their Christmas gifts, and we were able to supply that, and that was really awesome.
That would be, bless your little hearts. That's so cute. Your parents must be so proud.
That's where we got it.
Yes, they're sweet too. So tell us a little bit about some of the things how people can help.
So this year we got a little fancy, and I have a website.
Ooh.
So if you go on there, you can go through our Amazon wish list. So we have a curated wish list specifically to the nursing homes that we talk to and what they really need and what their residents really want. So we have that curated, and also sending just monetary donations through PayPal or Venmo. So
Okay, so what is the website that people can go to?
it's actually a little confusing. So you'll have to go on my Facebook. I have a little post about what we're doing. And then if you go down in the comments, it's linked on there. that's the easiest way to get there.
Okay.
So
The URL's really hard to say.
it's a long
It's
one.
a long one.
Yes,
I gotcha.
that's the easiest way.
Look up these Williams kids. You'll find it. Okay. So no, that's really cool. So are you doing more than one nursing home now?
Yes. So the past 2 years, 2 years ago, we did Jenkins Assisted Living. Last year was Four Winds Community. And this year, we're actually doing Four Winds Community and Holzer Assisted Living of Jackson.
Okay, and the residents got to kind of pick what they wanted?
Yeah, so we actually asked staff, like, what they usually ask for Christmas, what they use the most. And we created that wish list based on that so we can get the things that they really want, which is awesome.
And it's always good to keep in mind that the people that are there don't have so much support from family. So the things that we get to give them are kind of the big things that they get.
Special.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what are some of the things that people would ask for? I'm just curious.
We've had all kinds of stuff. Like we've had games, of course. We've had the regular necessities like clothes, toiletries, stuff like that. But usually it's fun stuff like games. We have
Basketball
coloring.
rims.
Yeah, a basketball rim was a big one. People love that.
That's awesome.
Yes. And coloring books, things like that. Just things to keep them entertained, just so they can have fun while they're there.
This whole adult coloring book thing is a whole craze on its own.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't color as a kid, so I don't know why I thought I could color as an adult.
We have a kindergarten teacher as a mom, so we can color.
It's in our blood.
Yep.
You will stay in the
Yes.
lines. So when you color, do you trace out the thing first and then color in it? That's how I
usually do.
finally.
Yeah, it's
That's
the
how I
easiest way, I
finally
think.
learned to stay in the lines, is tracing it out first and then coloring it.
I prefer markers too. It's faster and makes it easier, I think.
Colored pencils.
Colored pencils are nice, yeah. Mom prefers crowns because she's kindergarten teacher.
Because she's a teacher. Yeah,
Until
absolutely.
one of the kids eats crowns, and that's bad. But
We'll get the non-toxic ones.
yes.
All right. So the big thing is, I think what you're doing is so cool. And when do people have to have the donations in? And if you haven't said you have a PayPal or a Venmo,
Yep.
what would that be?
So it's all under, I believe the Venmo's under Misty Williams
Okay.
and the PayPal's under Morgan Williams.
Okay.
But that's also all linked on that website.
Yeah, but everything
So,
they need to know
make
is
it
on the
simple.
website. which is-
Okay. All right. And they just need to find your Facebook page,
Yep.
which is, tell everybody,
Taylor Williams.
Taylor Williams.
Taylor with an E.
Taylor with an E, yeah, that's big.
Tayler.
That's all.
Okay. But that should make you easier to find.
Yes.
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 I'd say there's a lot of Taylor Williamses out there. So,
Common name.
well, very good. So, help out. Thank you for doing what you're doing. As far as giving, it's very, very important and kind of goes along with what our guests were just talking about a minute ago. And 'tis the season to think about all that stuff. We should be thinking about it all year long, but you know.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah. All right. Was there anything else you wanted to tell our viewers while you're here?
I do want to thank my NHS chapter. So I'm the president of our NHS chapter, and we decided to collaborate this year with them with this project. So
Wonderful.
That,
So get more people involved.
Absolutely, yeah. That multiplied the amount of stuff we got by tenfold, it seemed like, because there's so many people. So
And I think it really
that was
opens
really awesome.
the kids' eyes, because I feel like as a teenager, you don't see like what the community really is dealing with. So I think it kind of opens their eyes to, like there's people out there struggling that we need to help. So
Our great grandmother's actually at Holzer Assisted Living. That's why we chose Holzer.
Good
So
for
that's
you.
it's really nice to give back to family that has helped us through so much in our lives. It's awesome.
Love that. You all are just so sweet. Well, very good. We'll get back to school. I know you have things to do, and Pete Wilson's here, so we'll trade you out. How's that?
Awesome. Sounds good.
All right. And
Thank
help
you.
these kids out and help our local nursing home and assisted living residents. They'll appreciate you more than you ever will know.
absolutely.
So very good. Awesome.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Come on over, Pete. Honey, don't you know it's 19 degrees outside?
School's warm.
He has on shorts, if you're wondering what I'm talking about.
If you would have seen Tucker play football, you're not going to question his toughness.
Yeah. He's one of them there football players.
Right? And I don't doubt the young lady's toughness either. by
That's
the way.
right. I'd say
Okay.
she whipped the tar out of you if you yeah. All 4 foot tall of her. Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you. All right, so Pete, you are here. What the heck is going on?
Okay, we're going to run over some really quick stuff, some Christmas stuff and non-Christmas stuff. Okay, it is deer season, right?
It is.
Right,
It's
and-
car season for deer also.
Right. Oh yes. Yeah. November is tough that way. A lot of deer are taken by the vehicles as well as by the hunters. But the gun season started on Monday. Will go through Sunday, and then there's an extra weekend on the 21st and 22nd. That's a Saturday and a Sunday. But the Ohio Division of Wildlife always puts out first day statistics, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of tell you how it is. Now it can be a little bit. It can be a little bit misleading because sometimes the weather has a whole lot to do with how good the deer harvest might be. But the big news is the first day of the deer season, it was the most deer that were taken statewide since 2012 for a first day. As a matter of fact,
Whoa.
in Ohio, 26,667 deer were harvested. That's the word we use. And that is up quite a bit, and it's the most since 2012. As a matter of fact, 19,363 were taken last year. So that's up from 19,000 to 26,000. That's a pretty big jump. Now, in our local area, where honestly, the trend had been the last 5 to 7 years to go down each year just a little bit. You know, if you look at the whole period, it went up too in both Jackson and Benton counties. Numbers in Jackson County, the first day deer harvest this year, this last Monday, was 342, and that is up from 272 this first day last year. That's a pretty big jump. In Benton County, the numbers went up from 191 in 2023 to 231 in 2024.
Wow.
So hunters did very, very well. Want to do a couple of quick tributes if I can.
Sure.
We lost one of Jackson's finest last week, George Kitchen. I think
Love
you probably knew
George.
George.
Yes.
George, I wrote a column about him that was in Wednesday's paper. It's posted, on the website. You can access it on Facebook as well. And George was 86 years old, lived a great life. Most of
Such
his
a
life
nice
was
man.
lived away from Jackson County. Born in Kentucky, I think he grew up in Central Ohio. Was from Grove City before he moved to Jackson, where he was a supervisor for Anheuser-Busch. Came down to Jackson. Not sure what year it was, but he bought a farm. And then he remarried after he lost his first wife, married Jan Gettles, a very well-known lady in town. And the impressive thing about him, a lot of people do community and public service and work to make their community better. But George did it after he retired. And the way I wrote the column was, George Kitchen was not a Jackson guy, but he was still one of our best.
Yeah.
Because how many people, after working hard their whole life and retiring, would come in, in his 70s and just work his tail off to make his adopted community
Boy,
better.
he sure did too.
And he did that as a member of City Council, did that as a leader of the American Legion Post 81, did that as the Jackson Historical Society. And one of the things about George, and I know you probably, if you met him, you knew this, even if you weren't close to him, just about as nice a man as you could
So
ever
nice.
meet. So
Yep.
polite and courteous, always a smile on his face. And when somebody lives a life like that and they give like that, I know there's lots of people out there, but he was one certainly that deserved credit. We lost
Yes.
him a week ago last Wednesday, died at Adena Regional Medical Center, must have had some medical bout there. He had been battling health issues on again, off again, really almost since he'd been in Jackson, but he never stopped working.
No.
He even came to a Jackson City Council meeting 1 month before his death. He'd already been off council. He didn't run again in 2019 after serving 8 years, and he came just to compliment the administration and council on all the public improvement projects that have been done. That's what he wanted to see done when he was on council, but frankly, they didn't have the money that they did because of the income tax. And he was in favor of the income tax when some people were not, because he knew it was needed to help the city. So George Kitchen, a tribute to him. We also want to offer words of tribute, and man, I did not know that well, but a lot of people did. Joseph Buddy Tanner. He was 82 years old. We lost him really as the result of injuries that he suffered in an automobile accident about several weeks ago.
Yeah.
Out on US 35. He was seriously injured. He died in the hospital, and I presume that his injuries had something to do with his death. I don't know that automatically, but I presume that had much to do with because he was seriously injured. But he had been a township trustee for many years in Jackson Township, so obviously well respected by his fellow residents and his peers out in Jackson Township. Also very active in church and professional things. Just a guy who was very, very well respected in the circles that he ran, Joseph Tanner. And that obituary was in the paper, too. Okay, want to say a couple things about Christmas really quick. We'll be saying more tomorrow and the next day. But Jackson, if you noticed, is all decorated now.
Oh, yes.
That is Matt Mahoney, who even though he probably was up there freezing there in his lift truck, putting up one of the decorative wreaths right in the middle of town. He smiled for me, took his picture, and that was symbolic of, that the Christmas season has arrived.
Yep.
And we had, the Christmas treats on Wellston Streets last Saturday. We've got all kinds of things in our local communities this Saturday, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the week. But we wanted to kind of grease the wheels for tomorrow's big events.
Tons of
the
stuff
Jackson
here in
Downtown
Jackson.
Association will be doing their annual sidewalk market with a Christmas theme. There'll be a cookie walk involved in that as one of the big things. But all those vendors will be downtown. The sidewalk vendors, the regular businesses that are in their own buildings. The food trucks. I think there's going to be some music as well. But the cookie walk is the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like trick or treat with cookies.
It is.
You get one ticket for $7, and you can just fill your
the
bag
cookies.
up. Probably
Yep.
a lot of homemade cookies. I'm guessing there as well. At the same time, that's from 6 to 8, and from 4 to 8 at the Mayu Brown Funeral Home. Jason Brown, his family, and his business, as a gift to the community, will do the Mayu Brown Christmas Cheer from Yesteryear event. You'll have a live nativity. You'll have live singing from the Jackson High School Choir, maybe other choirs. I know the Jackson High School Choir will be there. You'll have memorial ornaments. The place will be lit up. There'll be luminaries. It'll be super. There isn't the horse and carriage rides this year.
Okay.
But they'll have all the other staples that you used to. I think they'll have free hot cocoa and candy canes as well.
Love it.
It'll be very Christmassy. So both of those are tomorrow. So the other thing I want to tell you about real quick, Jennifer, up in Vinton County, there is a Christmas lights competition. That's always fun. That's a great way to know about all the Christmas decorations, if you don't want to, ride around up and down the streets. But Viking Santa is, I don't know who Viking Santa is, but that is their Facebook page. They're doing a Christmas light competition. It's open to all residents and businesses of Vinton County. There's residential and business divisions. The competition will take place, they'll be judging on Sunday, December the 15th from 5:30 to 9:30. However, this Friday, you have to register no later than Friday on the Viking Santa Facebook page. So we'll be looking for that and announcing the winners as well. And if you want to get in on that, there are some prizes involved for the winners. So that is where we are. We'll tell you a whole lot more tomorrow and Friday about some other stuff, Christmassy and non-Christmassy.
There you go. And we always appreciate you, Pete, for stopping by, filling us in on what the latest and greatest is. So, all right. Well, thank you to all of our guests that showed up today here on the program. Some driving us from as far as Cincinnati. Much appreciated. And talking about some of the things.
They all want to line up to talk to you, don't they?
Oh, yeah, that's it. That's it, Pete.
Okay.
No, have a great day. Stay warm out there. It is going to be kind of dangerously cold the next couple of days, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow. So thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Ho, ho, ho. From breaking news to heartwarming stories, the Telegram is your ticket to the latest buzz in town.
Read your daily dose of local headlines, sports, and entertainment and more in hand and on paper.
Get a print and digital subscription for only $7.95 per month. Delivered fresh every Wednesday and Saturday.
Visit thetelegramnews.com or call 740-286-3023 today.
Don't just read the news, be a part of it.